You played in Denver before, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah. Is it altitude real for a big fella like yourself?
I mean, it's definitely a factor, but at the end of the day, it's not a end-all, be-all. Like, you know, they there year-round. Teams come in there year out. Ain't nobody not made it home. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna be all right. And actually, I was in Denver this time last year doing my rehab for my knee, man. So it's gonna be a good getting back out to Colorado. We'll have a couple people come down from the clinic that took care of me up there in Vail, Colorado, and come to the game, get them hooked up, and see them. So it's gonna be good to see them. So happy to be back in Colorado. You know, they got a great fan base, great stadium out there. So it'll be exciting to play out there.
Can you describe what the atmosphere is like in Mile High?
You know, it's definitely electric. It's definitely electric. You know, the people are definitely passionate about football out there, and so it's a stadium that I kind of like to go in and play when they enter the game a lot, bring out the best of you. So I mean, I'm excited.
What do you think the moment will be for Justin Simmons?
I think it'll be an awesome moment for him. I think he'll be well received. You know, a guy that just been out there, poured his heart out there, gave him a whole bunch of seasons, all pro seasons. I mean, they got no reason but not to show him any love. You know, he didn't leave voluntarily. So I mean, but we're happy to have him here at the end of the day, and I think it'll be a special moment for him and his family, and I think he should have a big day.
Grady, Raheem told us earlier that Jimmy had like a presentation for y'all about kind of starting faster. Raheem said a visual presentation.
Yeah.
He wouldn't really tell us what that was. So what was that, and what did it do for you guys?
You know, it definitely, you know, just painted a good picture for us to, you know, going out and be ready to play. You know what I'm saying? And not waiting around, and you gotta, you know, you gotta be ready to throw the first punch. You know, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of the first punch, and just so that was something that was on Jimmy's heart today. Got to us, and we excited to go out there and bring it to life.
What was that presentation?
Did Rod tell you what it was?
Nope.
Well, why do you think I'm gonna tell you what it was?
Sound like some boxing class.
Hey man, you know, the head man don't tell you what it is. Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Spoil it for Jimmy.
He's gonna let Jimmy tell us.
Yeah, that's Jimmy's story to tell, man.
Do you feel you guys needed that though, something like that?
I mean, I think it's definitely what needed. You know, I think it was helpful for sure, and it's something that he thought it was important that he conveyed to us, and got to receive well, and I mean, made a good visual point.
Going back to a place where I've spent all of my career, a lot of great memories there. The fans are awesome. I have nothing but love for Broncos country. I'll always be thankful for my opportunity. You know, that organization invested into me, extended me, and the community there embraced my family. So it's, you know, I'll always be through and through like a Bronco for life. You know, those guys have always did right by me and my family. And, you know, at the same breath, you know, we're going there as a team with an objective to go win, get our 7th win of the season before we head into the bye. And so that's like #1 focus on my mind, is being able to do that.
Any thoughts on how it ended there?
No, I think just as I said, you know, at the end of the day, there is the business aspect of the NFL, and you know, looking even back on it, you know, there's been players before me that also were great players there. Von Miller, Demaryius Thomas, you know, those guys traded, things like that. Like, this is just part of the business sometimes. You know, Broncos greats, those things happen, and so no bad blood on my end. Like I said, I have nothing but love. They'll always be in my hearts as a great organization, and but at the same token too, knowing where I am now, and really looking forward to going in there and finding a way to win a football game.
I'm sure you've envisioned going back to Denver for quite some time. What do you feel like the emotion's going to be like when you walk in that building for the first time?
Yeah, I think like running out in the stadium, obviously all those will be different, right? I'll be on the other side, the way locker room changing, and I'll be on the opposite side of the sideline. You know, I won't hear as many cheers. I'll probably a little bit more boos. But again, you know, I think that's part of it. You know, you see guys all around the league go back to places where they played, and you know, they embrace the challenge of working through whatever it is, the physical aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it, and so yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And thankfully, you know, I don't have to carry the burden of that all on my own, right? I have amazing teammates. You know, I'm really looking forward to this one because it's a tough place to go win at, and it's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. Go get a win there.
Who's your closest teammate still on that team, and you guys would be exchanging trash talk or text messages this week?
Yeah, probably. Like most of the DBs there, right? Like PJ Locke, Pat, those guys, those are my guys. Jaquan McMillan. I mean, there's so many of them. And so, yeah, occasionally we're like in a little group text, so we'll be talking throughout the season, and I'm sure there'll be smack talk. I might just mute it and talk to them afterwards. But yeah, no, it's going to be great, man. I know, and I know all this is, the highlight of most of it is going to be, the return back to Denver and what that looks like. I honestly, it's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to being there. But my focus, I wanted to make sure I gave love to the organization and to the fan base there, because they treated my family and I so well. And I do have nothing but love for the team and for the fan base and for the community. That's still home for us, but at the same time too, I'm a Falcon, and I'm really looking forward. I'm just keep reiterating it, going up there and finding a way to get our 7th win. I think it's going to be really important.
What does Pat do well?
I'm sorry?
What does Pat do well?
A lot of things, everything, it seems like. I think the number one thing for him as a player is he's so patient. And he's known for erasing the other team's best player. So whatever that looks like, for them and their game plan, Drake or Mooney or whoever he's on, it's going to be a great matchup, because those guys have been playing good ball all year. So is Pat. He's a heck of a player, even better person. Yeah, man, I got nothing but good things to say about him.
2020 Falcons Broncos matchup. Correct me if I'm wrong, you picked off Matt Ryan. What do you remember about that game and that play, now that these teams are connected and you're going back home?
Yeah, for sure. It was COVID, and I remember, the stadium is a little different down in the South, so there was a couple people in the stadium. That was, my first time seeing fans in a stadium. So that's, the first thing I remember. I was like, it's so weird walking into an empty stadium. Then the second thing I remember, leading up to the week is, Matt Ryan's a BC great. I know he's an Atlanta great. And I'm like, I really would love to get an interception from him. Maybe he heard me in my prayers, but I was able to go get one. Didn't win the game. I just remember that being a really tough game. And so, in similar fashion, in terms of obviously, going back to Denver, hoping to make a couple big plays, but more importantly, want to leave there with a win.
You touched on their secondary. Their pass rushing has also taken a step this year. Why do you think they've been able to take that step as a defense?
Yeah, I think VJ's one of the best defensive minds in the NFL, and I had the opportunity to be around him twice. The first tenure he was a head coach, and getting to learn from him then, and then obviously the second time around last year he was the DC, and it's hard coming in and implementing a whole new system, getting guys to buy into a system. So now year 2 of it, you see the guys are buying in, and they're playing really well. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest difference there. He's one of the best I've been around, and looking forward to. I know I won't directly be competing against that, but as a team, I'm looking forward to to playing against him.
Caden won't directly going against his brother, but I'm sure a little pride in the family this weekend. How's he been in practice, and what do you think that will be like?
Yeah,
brother and brother. Yeah,
that's a great question. It's. I think Caden's going to do great, man. He's carried himself all season long. I said in week 2, being interviewed, who do you think is, one of the underrated guys, at least on the defensive side of the ball? And I said Caden. I think he does so much that goes unnoticed, and a lot's put on his plate, and rightfully so, because he can handle it. And so I know they have a big family. I don't even want to mess up. I think 11 or 12. Brothers and sisters. So I know this is not new territory for them, being able to walk into a spot where they're competing. Actually, fun fact, Caden's dad was my team chaplain in Denver my rookie year. So it's just crazy how it's a small world.
Yeah, Kirk was kind of joking that making the NFL is supposed to be hard unless you're in an Ellis. It's just kind of it's birthright, right?
It's just natural, right? Natural. We talk about the Bosas, and the Watts, and there's the Edmonds, there's so many others, but then there's the Ellises, multiple, it's crazy. But hats off to Luther and their family, the Ellis family, and how they do things, and just being around Caden, man, I can see why, and they're just great humans.
Altitude, is it what everyone talks it up to do? Is there really an adjustment, or as someone who's played in it, you guys should be able to acclimate fairly quickly?
Yeah, no, there's definitely an adjustment, but I don't you know, playing there for so long, I think like when I first got there, definitely could see it. And then, you know, as the years gone on, I don't even think twice about it. And it's hit or miss. You know, you ask some players and it's like, you know, like opposing team players, and they said, yeah, it hit me. And, you know, you ask others and it's like, I noticed, but it wasn't terrible. So, you know, we have stuff on the sideline that'll help with that, oxygen mask, and we have a great team here, you know, weight staff, nutrition staff, training room staff. I mean, acclimating us throughout the week now that will help set us up for success, you know, coming into Sunday playing at the Mile High. So,
you know, I think that they, you know, got a lot of guys to, you know, stop their division opponents like Patrick Mahomes and guys like that. So, you know, they really did focus and pride on like getting guys to, you know, stop the pass game. And, you know, I think for us it's more so just making sure that we know our keys and our looks, and, you know, seeing the different looks that they give us and different blitz sets that they give us, because I think, you know, our identity is obviously to run the football, but then when we do get in pass situations, like making sure that those guys aren't affecting anything as well.
Kirk continuously says there's more to go get on offense.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we just like leave a lot of plays, you know, well, not a lot of plays, but, you know, some plays on the field that we want back, and like even like the 3 and outs, like we don't pride on getting off the field, especially like fast at all. Like we want to stay on the field and, you know, give our defense a chance to just breathe, and then we can just control the game. But there's just a lot of like key plays that we always want back, run game and pass game. And I think that, you know, when we're obviously clicking on the high level, then, you know, we all see what it looks like. But then, you know, when we're not at our best, like there's like a lot of big plays that can change the whole game for us.
You get to face an Ellis in practice, and now you get to face one in the game. You know, with his brother.
Oh,
Jonah,
yeah.
The Broncos, right now. Just about that family and what he means to this team, and going up against another one in the Broncos.
Yeah. I mean, we were actually just talking about it earlier. Like he's played against both of his brothers, and I think that's just like such a blessing to have brothers all in the NFL, and even just getting to play, you know, the other brother, like it's gonna be a cool. I told Ken, I was like, bro, like I'll give your brother love after the game.
You're gonna hit him.
But yeah, I was like, during the game, it's you know, it's war. But even for him though, and their whole family, like that's such a big accomplishment to just have, you know, two kids that are both playing in the league. Like that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, it's gonna be just a good matchup on Sunday.
Caden's one of those guys that's like overtly positive.
Yeah.
And Kirk was talking about how he kind of gasses him up on the sideline before he goes out there. Do you notice that about Caden whenever other teammates are going out there on the field?
Yeah, like Caden, his energy is always high. He's always ready. You know, he never backs down from anything, and I think it's pretty cool, like to see just the energy that he brings to that whole defense, because like he's such an important part to it, and even just how he's been playing these past, you know, weeks, it's really inspiring to see that. But even for me, like when I'm walking out there, he's like, Bijan, like turn it on, like let's go, and just that extra boost that it always gives me. But he's always energetic. He's always ready to go.
You know, how do you feel through 10 games?
Okay. I mean, still got to capitalize on a lot of those opportunities. So overall, I say I like where I'm at, but there's still a lot of work that has to be done. So yeah, just try to get better each day, try to move forward and continue to evolve as a pass rusher.
What does that look like? Because to our view, 90% of the job looks great. You know, you're getting around the edge, you're stretching the offensive tackle, all of that stuff. What is that final 10%? How do you work on that, or is that just in the moment doing it?
A little bit of everything. Could be a little bit of a lot, or it could be the quarterback holding the ball second more, or again, they're faster. So it's a combination. There's a lot of things that goes into it. So at the end of the day, you want to get there as fast as you can. I mean, you want to hit, clean the move if you have to. Just the main goal is to bring the quarterback down, so that's what you work for.
When you're playing a young quarterback like Bo Nix, obviously pressure can be a great way to maybe start speeding up his clock, getting him to see some things, maybe force some turnovers, but he's also got that mobility on his side because he's young. So, like, talk me through him as a quarterback and what you've seen so far.
I actually played him in college back when he was at Auburn. And we know he's a mobile quarterback. That's somebody that's going to try to run a lot. And, you mentioned it being a young quarterback. He's not going to try to sit there and dissect the defense. Probably first, second read, if it's not there, probably going to try to take off. So we got to make sure up front our rush integrity is kind of sound and try to collapse the pocket as much as possible.
How'd that game go in college? What do you remember from it?
I mean, we Penn State, we did handle business. But, yeah, I think we won that game. Pretty sure we won that game. Yeah.
Is there a danger as a group or as individuals to start to press because the sack production is not there and to sort of get out of what you're asked to do?
Not necessarily. I don't think you have to press. There's a lot of ways you can get production within the defense and what you're asked to do. We know the main goal is to stop the run. Every time we was able to do that, it turned into a one-dimensional game. And at the end of the day, when it's time to rush the passer, you don't have to press about that. You just have to go out there and rush the passer.
Raheem and Jimmy both say they feel like you're close. So what's the difference in getting from close to where you want to be, which is more sack production?
Sometimes I joke with myself, feel like I'm cursed sometimes. But,
why is that? Because you feel like you've missed a few that you should have had?
Definitely have. Definitely have left a lot of those on the table this year, especially this year. I think just that finish, that last part, that's something we don't get to practice. We don't get to rep our practice because obviously you don't bring the quarterback down to practice. It's just that finish, just trying to make a big emphasis on that finish. Every time you get back there, try to bring the quarterback down. It sounds easier than it is to do, but at the end of the day, that's something as I continue to evolve as a player, that's something I'm trying to work on and do a lot often.
This is a half-joking question, but would it help you if they put a guy back there, whether it's Nate Peterman, no offense to Nate Peterman or anybody, and let you have live reps at the quarterback in practice?
I don't think that's something that's necessarily to do. Every quarterback is different. You can have a live rep against.
Don't tell Nate.
Nah. I mean, every quarterback is different in the way they step into the pocket and kind of move around. Obviously, Bo Nix is a lot different than somebody than Dak or Kirk. I mean, a different playing style. So just try to see what they do best on tape and try to get to them as much as possible.
Thank you.
Hey, they ran with the Notre Dame back a lot last week. Audic, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, with the E. Are y'all have to study him now too? Because they had been running the other backs earlier this year.
Pretty much, we have to look at anybody that's on their personnel, and at the end of the day, for us, it's just gap integrity and stop the run to start the game. So it should be fun.
Yeah, Coach, could you discuss the Denver defense? They ranked pretty high in all the yards and points and so forth.
Yeah, really solid defense at all three levels when you look at it. You know, Vance Joseph's been a great defensive coordinator for a long time. Shoot, I remember growing up in Colorado, remember him playing, you know, for the University of Colorado, and obviously we faced him a bunch when he was with Arizona, when we were with the Rams. So know the challenges that his defense, you know, schematically presents, and then you just look at the front, the way that those guys are playing. They play at a very high level across the board. There's really no weakness along the front. The second level of the defense is really solid, and then you know, the corners and safeties are all really good. Obviously, a really good player out there that they have at corner. So in for a big challenge. Got to have a great week of preparation, understanding you know, how to try to attack the scheme, and then understanding that it's a player's game and it's going to be a great challenge for the guys up front and really everybody across the board.
How unique is it how they use Benito?
Yeah, no, he's a really good pass rusher. Obviously, he's got some twitch to him on the edge that we got to be aware of at all times. You know, they move those guys around a decent amount, and we'll get to some third downs a little bit later on today. But from the normal down and distance stuff, you can tell those edge players, you got to be very aware, but you also got to be aware of the interior. So it'll be a good challenge across the board for our guys. I know they'll be ready for it.
Sertan and Benito, to kind of jump off the, you know, little quick review, who are some of the other guys that are providing them some good work?
Yeah, those two guys certainly. Obviously, you know, Zach Allen's a really good player on the interior. You know, Franklin Myers is a really good player as well. So they feel like they can play, you know, some of their structures that puts their best 11 on the field, and it's definitely they play it really well. So anticipating a good matchup between, you know, obviously our offensive line and you know, ability to run the football as well as pass protect. So those guys will be ready to roll, and looking forward to seeing how it plays out on Sunday.
And I was just going over your receptions and the catches for first downs. It's spread out pretty much, but London and Mooney with 36 and 33, then Ray with 16 and Kyle with 16. Does that make you all difficult to defend on third downs with so many people that committed?
Sure. Yeah. I think so. I think Kirk does a great job of spreading the ball around. Obviously, we're designing plays to go certain places. Sometimes it works out exactly like you hope. Sometimes that's why you have a great quarterback in Kirk that finds the open guy. So we're trying to just spread the field and try to use everybody's talents, the best that they can. And so obviously the trigger man is the one that makes it all go, and he's done a great job spreading it around and just finding the open guy.
Having played against Vance's defense, as you said, for so many times, is there a common theme, identity with the way they roll out?
No, I think he's always aggressive. You see that pop off the tape, whether that's this year, years prior, understanding situationally and some of those things that present themselves. But they always play hard. They always have good mixers throughout the game. He does his best trying to not let you get a beat on it, and they do a great job of that. So, we've played them, I think, we're not eight different times in LA, and each game felt very different, each time. So know that they'll have their wrinkles, but they also have their staple stuff that they like to do that we'll be ready for.
Just to follow up, is that rare when if you were to face another team 8 times to have that many different wrinkles, or you kind of know?
Yeah, I think he just does a great job mixing it up, and understands that if you're putting things on tape over and over, that defenses are seeing that as well. So just like we're trying to do on our offensive side as well, just trying to make sure that we're not getting too many tendencies out there that defenses can get a beat.
You have this one sort of on your calendar?
Definitely, yeah. No, my families, grew up in Denver. Grew up a Broncos fan. We had season tickets when I was a kid, going to the old Mile High Stadium, watching John Elway and all the Ed McCaffrey, Rod Smith, Carl Mecklenburg, all those guys. So definitely, when I saw we were going to Denver, family got excited and all that. So those have a bunch of family there, which will be fun. Always a great place to play. I mean, the atmosphere is. It's tough to beat. You're saying probably there, Kansas City, those are the top 2, in the NFL. So looking forward to getting back home. It's a really cool place. It'll be a lot of fun knowing that it's going to be a really good challenge versus a really good team.
Any prevailing memories, watching those games back then?
Gosh, not really. I was pretty young. I can't remember. I remember Jason Elam kicking a 63-yarder. We were at that game that set an NFL record. But just remember Ed McCaffrey, especially, just making tough catches over the middle. That was when, getting hit over the middle was a little bit different than it is now. They were trying to, take your head off. So, but yeah, we had great memories going to those games with my dad. So it was pretty cool.
Is it cool to kind of be able to go back there and, as your first season as a play caller, as an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm sure, pre-game, all that stuff will be fun. I'll have family down on the sideline, but once you get to the game, you're locked in. You don't even really notice where you are. You're kind of just going. But everything leading up will be a lot of fun. It'll be cool to see a bunch of family out there.
When you were watching McCaffrey go over the middle, were you kind of thinking about plays back then? Okay, maybe I would have done that a little too young.
Maybe a little too young. I mean, that was college, though, in the back of the classroom. I'm not going to lie. I was not really paying attention to school. But yeah, definitely have always We'll leave it there, all right? I did graduate, so it was.
What were you doing back there?
I was writing up plays.
Are you using any of those plays that you?
I can't. No, I mean they were probably bad at that time.
You were at PFF, and that time you were sort of trying to transition into coaching. Were there any play callers or designers that you studied in particular that you found yourself going back to their tape?
Yeah, it was, oddly enough, it was the Rams. I was really watching their tape, especially 2017 and 2018, the Super Bowl year. I would watch them over and over, as well as the 49ers, with Shanahan. Those were kind of the 2 that you drew on, and then you loved always watching, when it was Patrick Mahomes' first year, you see the designs that Andy Reid, has with their offense and the creativity. But I always kept going back to the Rams, and then, oddly enough, ended up getting an interview later on that after they went to the Super Bowl and ended up there. So I loved watching how they were, diagnosing defenses and some of the different tempos they were using. And I thought that, if you got an opportunity to learn from somebody who better than Sean, and really fortunate, obviously, that it ended up working out that way.
How much different, if at all, did it look from what you were doing as a player? What you saw on that film versus what you were doing when you were?
Oh, it's a lot different. You know, like even though it wasn't that long ago, how much things can change being out of an NFL building for 4 to 5 years. I mean, I went in there as a new coach and I was like, holy smokes, I know nothing. Things have changed so much. So, you know, some of the route concepts are very similar, but just the terminology and the way that defenses were playing offenses was totally different, you know, from when I was playing in the last year, 2013, I think. So that 4 or 5 years in between getting into coaching, you're watching the tape, but until you actually get in the room and you hear the fine details that are going on, it's a different game.
From the broadest sense, what was the defensive difference? What you were seeing as a player versus what you were seeing?
I think the mixture of different coverages, different personnel groupings, you know, it felt like it was a lot more simplistic. Now, I mean, gosh, especially now, you're seeing so many different looks from the defense to try to catch you off guard. But you know, that's how I remember it. I don't know if that's, you know, 100% true, but that's exactly what. Yeah, that's what I remember from it.
What can you do as a play caller to guard against a quote unquote slow start, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, I think we just got to keep, you know, making sure that when we get opportunities early in games that we execute. You know, the third down was the first drive of the game. You know, it was just unfortunate we didn't hit that. Then the second third down, absolutely did not like the play call that I put our guys in that situation. So it was like, you go through that first quarter, we had, I don't know how many yards it was. We had 2 drives. One ends on a third down that, you know, those guys connect in their sleep. The other ends on a bad call by me, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, what just happened? And you're down in the game. So we got to make sure that, you know, first and foremost, I'm doing my part to make sure we're in, you know, good positions. And then when we do get opportunities to convert on the third downs, you know, we got to hit those too. So it's definitely a combination of both.
He was in here talking about how it wasn't so much like the first quarter of this past game as it was the first drive that kind of like never got started. I know you just kind of touched on it there, but how do you maybe pick that up, maybe on the next drive or further in the game?
Yeah, I think you just stay after it. I mean, there's no really magic, you know, potion going into it. You just kind of stick to your plan, understanding, you know, the urgency that you have to have in those type of games. And I thought our guys did a good job. And at times maybe we were pressing a little bit too much throughout the game, knowing we were trying to get it back all in one play. So, you know, it's definitely a good balance of it all. But, you know, you really just kind of stick to the plan, knowing that you have, you know, had this plan for a reason. Guys understand the plan, what you're trying to do, and you're just trying to execute that next drive.
How did that relationship with you and Raheem develop in LA? He said last week that you guys were facing each other. You guys like in the office, and you know he kind of felt like the arguments you had kind of helped make him think that you'd be a good offensive coordinator one day.
Yeah, I'd love to hear his perspective on it. His office, mine was right here. Mine was right here. I mean, it was right across the hall, and so as soon as he got the job there, we were always kind of bantering back and forth, whether it was talking about quarterbacks in the draft or defensive schemes or offensive schemes. No, man, that's not how, you know. And there was good, healthy banter, as you guys know, with Rod. There's always that going on. But no, we just kept kind of picking each other's brain about things. He would say, hey, come take a look at this. What are they trying to do here? I'd do the same thing for him, and it helped me a ton as a young coach, just trying to learn defense, but also knowing that Raheem knows offensive ball. So I learned a ton from him in those few years in LA that you know, was instrumental in just development, not only with, you know, Coach McVay, but with, you know, Raheem on the defensive side. It was pretty cool to be open to that and know that he's such a good dude, so easy to talk to. He might tell you you're messed up in certain situations, but at the end of the day, he just wants what's right and he wants good football.
So healthy crop talk for the most part?
100%, yeah. It's still the same. It hasn't changed a bit, even more so now.
What did you learn from Bo Nix going through that process in Indy? Just evaluating him, talking to him.
Yeah, so so I ended up not seeing him in Indy, but we went to Oregon, and he had a great workout, you know, for us up there. We had a big group that went up there and saw him work out. Just talking with him, I mean, guy, you know, totally loves football. He's all in. Tell how smart he was. Obviously, he's got some twitch in his arm. He can make every single throw. Extremely athletic. All those things were, you know, the reason why he was drafted where he was, and we had a lot of like for him as well. You know, certainly leading up to it. So, you know, it's no surprise to see he's having some success, especially early on. He's a veteran guy that's played a lot of college football, still learning the NFL game, but very, very talented.
With Denver's ability to get pressure with its front 4 rushers, just how difficult does that make their defense?
Yeah, it's hard. It's, you know, anytime that you can add coverage players on the back end and get home with 4, that's certainly a challenge for any offense. So we got to make sure that the ball is coming out in a timely manner, making sure that the field is distributed, knowing that we got to protect first and foremost the quarterback, the offensive line, all those things that go into it. But those guys do a great job, whether we're rushing 4 or 5. They seem to be able to dial it up at any time.
Week 1 at all with the pressure that the Steelers were able to get? I know last week you said that felt like a different team.
Yeah, not really, not too much. We feel a lot different now. Obviously, that was the first game. Kirk getting back with everything. First time we were all kind of connecting as a unit. So I haven't really thought about that moment or how that would translate into this game.
Back to what Mark was talking about. When we were talking to Raw, he said that the opportunities that you got in the preseason in LA to call plays was really unique, and he liked watching you do that. Do you remember the conversations with him after those games? Was there any banter with you guys back and forth on the offense?
Not too much. In LA, we weren't playing, very many guys, and so we got beat a lot in the preseason, which was, it was tough but it was great learning experience. And the biggest thing that, Raheem and Sean would talk about was just like make sure that it's a clean operation. The plays are the plays. We know we're not putting our schemes out there. It was very, very vanilla, very similar to, this preseason. So, those guys were always just super encouraging and just, helped me out any way I could.
Every situation for you is a learning experience, but what do you feel like you learned the most when you were given the ability to do that in the preseason there in LA?
Yeah, I think it's just the communication that happens within game, how quickly, you need to get the play calls in, what that's like hitting the button, when that thing shuts off at 15 seconds, all those things that you really have no idea until you actually do it. The communication with the coaches on the sideline, all those things, until you actually get a rep of it, you think you have an idea, and you're always back there thinking, oh man, you can, but it's a totally different deal when you're actually pulling the switch.
And then going back to how defenses are different versus when you played, how much do you enjoy play calling and planning for a bunch of defenses that disguise things really well?
No, it's a lot of fun. It's obviously, we love coaching for first and foremost the players, and then you love it because you love schematics and you love football and you love trying to piece things together and how you can attack a defense. So it's a lot of fun. It presents a lot of stress on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, but once the plan's in and once you're sitting there on Saturday and you feel good, we finish a walkthrough and you're about to go play the game, guys are confident, and it's just kind of that weekly process. But no, it's a lot of fun. That's why it's why we do it first and foremost, like I said, the players, and then just for those, that's why we're coaches, because if we were out in the business world, we would have no shot. So that's it's a lot of fun.